For decades, you were told this fruit was one of the healthiest choices you could make. Easy, natural, almost automatic. But here's the quiet question many people never ask after 70. Does a food that served you well at 40 still serve you the same way now? Not because it's bad, but because your body has changed. Pause on that thought. There's a man we'll call Robert. He's 74. Calm, observant, the kind of person who reads labels without drama and trusts common sense over trends. Every morning, for as long as he can remember, he made the same simple choice. Coffee, toast, and that familiar fruit sitting on the counter, bright, soft, reassuring. He believed he was doing the right thing. And for years, he was. What changed wasn't the fruit. What changed was him. After 70, the body doesn't fail, responds differently. And that difference is where wisdom begins. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because heart balance, energy, and long-term steadiness aren't protected by habit alone. They're protected by understanding. So let's talk about 5 quiet insights doctors often encourage seniors to be aware of when it comes to this everyday fruit. Not to avoid it, not to fear it, but to relate to it differently. And the first insight surprises almost everyone. Most seniors believe that if something is natural, it must always be gentle. But natural doesn't mean neutral as we age. The way the body handles certain minerals and sugars becomes more sensitive. This familiar fruit contains a combination that once felt energizing, but later in life, it can feel different. Some people notice subtle changes. A heavier feeling after eating, less steadiness later in the day. Nothing dramatic, just enough to feel slightly off. Doctors often remind older adults that heart balance isn't about eliminating foods. It's about noticing how the body responds now, not how it responded decades ago. Here's the empowering part. Awareness gives you control. You're no longer eating out of routine, you're choosing with intention. And just when you think this is only about what's inside the fruit, the next insight reveals why timing matters just as much. The second assumption many seniors hold is that healthy foods work the same at any time of day. But after 70, timing becomes a form of wisdom. That familiar fruit is often eaten in the morning or by itself. Quick, convenient, automatic, but for some older adults, having it alone can lead to subtle imbalances later. Not pain, not alarm, just a sense of uneven energy. Picture a quiet afternoon. Soft light through the window, a chair by the table. You stand up and notice you don't feel as grounded as usual. Doctors often encourage seniors to think in terms of pairing, not restriction. Balance. How foods interact can matter more than the food itself. Here's a gentle question worth asking. What feels different now compared to 10 years ago? That single question puts you ahead of most people. And it leads directly to the next insight, one that quietly challenges how society talks about aging. We're often told that aging means giving things up. But real aging-wise, aging is about fine-tuning. This fruit has a sweetness that once felt harmless. But later in life, the body processes sweetness more slowly. That doesn't make it dangerous, makes it noticeable. Some seniors find that too much sweetness at once affects how steady they feel afterward. Not immediately. Quietly. Gradually. Doctors don't frame this as a warning. They frame it as respect for change. Here's the truth society rarely says out loud. Your body isn't weaker after 70, it's more honest. It gives clearer feedback. And when you listen, confidence returns. Imagine walking through a grocery store. Calm, unrushed. You reach for that familiar fruit, but this time you pause. Not with fear, with authority. And that pause leads to the next insight, one that has nothing to do with food and everything to do with independence. Independence isn't protected by rules. It's protected by responsiveness. Many seniors eat the same foods out of loyalty. Loyalty to habit. Loyalty to routine. Loyalty to identity. This has always been my breakfast. But doctors often encourage something simpler: flexibility. Not eating something every single day doesn't mean you've lost control. It means you've gained discernment. Picture a quiet breakfast table. The plate is slightly different today. The choice is intentional. The result feels lighter. That feeling, that calm steadiness, is what confidence looks like after 70. Here's a simple thought experiment. If your body could vote, what would it ask for more of: routine or responsiveness? Hold that question, because the final insight ties everything together. Longevity isn't built on perfect choices. It's built on compounding awareness. This familiar fruit isn't the hero or the villain. It's a signal, a reminder, a conversation starter between you and your body. Doctors often say the healthiest seniors aren't the most disciplined. They're the most attentive. They notice small changes early. They adjust without drama. And that's where dignity lives. Imagine someone noticing you. Not because you look younger, but because you move with ease. You stand confidently. You carry yourself like someone who knows himself. That presence doesn't come from fear. It comes from refinement. Aging well isn't about removing joy from life. It's about choosing joy that supports you now. After 70, wisdom isn't louder, it's quieter. It doesn't announce itself, it simply works. If this perspective resonated with you, there's a deeper idea that connects everything we've discussed today: the power of small, thoughtful choices adding up over time. That's exactly what we explore in the next video on your screen now, about the power of compounding. Not just in money, but in health, confidence, and independence. Watch that next, and keep choosing awareness over habit.